Have you ever stopped to think about what actually happens to your house, your savings, and your family's peace of mind the moment you take your last breath? It's a heavy question, I know. But if you are retired or staring down the barrel of retirement, you cannot afford to be sentimental about this. You have worked 40, 50 years to build a life. You've been disciplined, you've saved, and you've played by the rules. So why on earth would you leave the final chapter of your financial story up to a court system that doesn't know your name and certainly doesn't care about your family's grief? The fear I hear from so many of you is the fear of the great probate drain. You're terrified that after you're gone, your kids are going to be stuck in a legal nightmare for 18 months, paying lawyers thousands of dollars just to get what is rightfully theirs. And you should be afraid of that. Because if you haven't made a definitive choice between a will and a living trust, you are essentially leaving your front door unlocked and hoping for the best. Let's get real about a will. Everyone thinks a will is the gold standard. You write down who gets what, you sign it, and you're done, right? Wrong. A will is simply a letter to a probate judge. It is an admission ticket to a courtroom. When you pass away with only a will, your estate must go through probate. That is a public process. That means anyone can see what you owned and who you left it to. It's slow, it's expensive, and it is entirely unnecessary for many of you. If you own a home, especially in a state where probate fees are calculated as a percentage of the gross value of the home, a will might be the most expensive cheap document you ever sign. Now, let's talk about the Revocable Living Trust. This is the powerhouse. This is how you stay in control even when you're no longer here. A living trust is a legal entity that owns your property while you are alive. You are the trustee, you control everything. But the second you pass, your successor trustee steps in. There is no judge. There is no 18-month waiting period. There are no public records for the neighbors to snoop through. It is a private, seamless handoff of your legacy. I know what you're asking, Susie, isn't a trust just for the wealthy? No! That is a myth that keeps middle-class families broke. If you own a home, you are wealthy enough to need a trust. If you have children or grandchildren and you want to make sure the money you leave them is protected from their own potential divorces or creditors, you need a trust. A will cannot do that for you. A will gives the money out in a lump sum, and then it's gone. A trust allows you to be the hand from the grave that says, I love you, but I'm going to make sure this money lasts you a lifetime. The problem is that most of you are procrastinating because the word trust sounds complicated. You think it's going to cost you $5,000 today. Well, let me tell you something, spending a little bit of money now to set up a revocable living trust is the greatest act of love you can perform for your family. If you don't spend it now, your estate will spend 10 times that amount later in legal fees. Do you want your money going to a lawyer you've never met, or to your grandkids' college education? It's your choice. Here is your actionable takeaway, and I want you to listen closely. If you own nothing but a bank account with a payable on death beneficiary, a will might suffice. But the moment you add a piece of real estate into the mix, you need to transition to a living trust. You need to gather your deeds, your account statements, and your insurance policies. You need to find a reputable estate planning attorney, not a general practitioner, but someone who lives and breathes this stuff. Stop thinking you're going to live forever. And stop thinking that the kids will figure it out. They won't. They will be grieving you, and the last thing they need is a legal battle. You have the power right now to shut the door on the courts and open the door to a private, peaceful transition. Get your living trust done. Fund it, meaning, move the titles of your assets into the name of the trust, and then put it in a safe place. That is how you protect what you've worked for. That is how you secure your family's future. Because you deserve to be powerful, and your family deserves to be protected. With that said, thanks for watching, and until next time.